It's time to feel the rage. Welcome to Film Rage, where we talk movies, in theater streaming, and classic films as well. Directors and actors beware, as you cannot hide from the rage. My name is Bryce, and I'm part of the Film Rage crew, which also includes Jim. Hey there, Jim.
Hey, Bryce.
Seem tired, Jim.
I'm a little tired.
And also we got Murman.
Yo.
Hey there, Murray. You're looking awfully spry compared to Jim.
Well, I'm not.
What?
I was hanging with, who the hell was it? Not 50 Cent, the other guy.
I don't know.
Not
Nelly.
50 Cent, the other
Nelly.
guy? Nelly?
It was Nelly. Apparently it was Nelly. It wasn't 50 Cent.
You were hanging out with Nelly?
I was
Chilling like
part
a
of
villain.
his crew
Wow.
Feeling like a
for
villain.
one night only.
I think you meant to say, wow.
Wow.
It's hot in here.
Is that the song?
Apparently
is
it's
that
a
the big
song.
song?
I don't
guess
know.
so.
Is that the It's getting hot in here?
Yeah, that's him, apparently.
Take off all your clothes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
so
pretty
yeah,
good
I
one.
didn't get a lot of sleep either.
I
I'm
know.
here.
Nice.
Damn it.
Super. So, with the introductions out of the way, let's rage on.
Well, thanks for all been supporting us. If you love our independent podcast or even just like it a little bit, give it a 5-star rating on your listening platform or support us and join the Film Rage community at buymeacoffee.com/Film Rage YYC. If you cannot commit to a membership, you can still buy us a movie rental and dare us to see a terrible film and we'll watch it. If it played anywhere in the world in a cinema. Right,
Yep.
let's get to raging. What the amazing man can predict? What the amazing man can
Predict?
Predict the rage, or will he predict the mondo? Will he tell us all what Jim and Bryce had?
Movies.
Here he comes now, kids better watch out, 'cause Murman is swimming to you.
You and you.
Swim, Murray, swim, Murray.
Swim, Murray, swim.
Swim, Murray, swim, Murray.
Swim, Murray, swim.
Swim all the way to our hearts, our little cup-filled hearts.
Movies.
Movies, movies!
Movie is on.
Despite the fact that you guys are cuffing all over the place.
Yeah, cuffed in my
you still
pants a
managed
few
to find
times
time
too.
to see 4, possibly 5 movies. I
Five.
don't know.
Five.
I don't know if
Five.
you guys got all of them. So
Let's
Sure
sing a
did.
song
We'll
about
see.
5.
all right. First up, we have Sinners, a
Yes,
vampire movie.
that's
is.
right. Actually, Murray saw this.
2 Michael B. Jordans, not 1, but 2.
More,
Double
Because
B.
that's double the Jordan.
yeah.
Double B pleasure.
More Michael B for your buck.
That's right. I don't think we like him that much as an actor.
No, it's accurate.
But as a movie, it had its moments. It wasn't the worst vampire movie I've ever seen. So
That is true.
But it is
let's-
also not. I would agree with that.
Go
yeah.
double meh.
All right.
Was not the worst one I've ever seen.
Queen of the Ring, another wrestling movie. I seem to be watching a lot of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually watched like 3 documentaries this week. Just they happen to be on TV.
About
All
wrestling?
about wrestling, including one about the Iron Claw, like the actual
The actual. Iron Claw.
story, not the movie.
Nice.
So yeah, like I'm wrestling all over the place.
Nice.
I did not see this one. Jim, just because it's a sports movie, I don't think got to a mondo. Whereas Bryce, he loves his wrestling.
He does love wrestling.
Although I've heard from both of you that it was too long. Let's see if he gets into a mondo.
All right.
A Nice Indian Boy.
Yes.
You guys both see this one?
Yes.
Sure did.
All right. I know there was issues.
There
was issues earlier.
There was issues. We may have differing
Disagree?
opinions on this. I'm
Wow.
not saying we do, but
That's not good because I have it as a double mondo.
all right.
The Ballad of Wallace Island. Which
Yes.
I did go to.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
you did.
It was very, it was very UK and very punny. I liked it. I didn't love it. I think maybe you guys the same. There was some issues, I think, maybe. So double meh.
All right.
Alrighty.
That could be one we get 3 mehs. You never know.
Finally, The Wedding Banquet, which had maybe a couple of people I recognized in it, but
Yes.
yeah, it's like 2 gay guys, but they're faking being married to a woman
Who are also lesbians.
Who are lesbians, and then there's a grandmother, and it's South Korean. So yeah, double mondo.
And Chinese, actually.
And Chinese. So there you go, double mondo. Surprisingly, no rages, so I'm probably gonna be wrong.
Maybe.
Not going to say. But what I will tell you is sin is ever present.
It is.
All right, well, you know, this movie seems to have taken the world by storm for some reason.
What's that?
Sinners.
Oh, Sinners?
Yeah. So it's definitely a vampire movie unlike any other.
Okay.
We got witchcraft, magical musicians, evil vampires, past and present musical masters, preaching, and a musical subplot, even with some Irish dancing, and of course, double our Michael B. Jordan for our pleasure. But on top of that, we got dialogue that was a little forced and unnatural for first half of the movie, and a story that was I'm not sure what it wanted to be. It was super bloated with Klansmen and tons of characters that when we get to the finale are all seem kind of turned stupid, and a fight scene that made no sense whatsoever. But then we got a bit of fun, gore, and some unusual ideas with vampires. Was this a musical, though? I'm not sure. I'm thinking kind of. Was it a clan revenge film? Kind of. Was it way too long with a payoff that didn't make a lot of sense? Kind of. I got to admit that I liked some of the concept of this film. In fact, the concept of this film I actually really did like. But ultimately, I felt it was a little all over the place, and I couldn't get past the battle scene at the end, which should have been done much better. Plus, really, why did we get double the Michael B. Jordan? I don't know. I do not like this actor. I haven't seen a movie in him that I've liked. It's not like he took too much away from the film, because there is a huge cast.
And
I mean
the
a huge
same
cast.
guy who's directed him in every movie he's ever done.
Yeah.
Like both Black Panthers, all of the Creeds. Same director.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I don't think he directed all the Creeds.
I did at least 2 of them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
Definitely
know. You know
did
what?
the first one.
They're all horrible anyway. So I got to say, this was unique. Watching this film, I felt it was very unique. But it was way too long. And just, you know, I first watched this, I thought there was I found way too many holes in this. But you know what? It was swinging for the fences.
It was,
and that's one of the things I gotta give kudos to it, because, you know, it put a lot in here, and I think that was where I had the biggest problems. It was too much in one movie, and I also found editing was an issue. The story's ineptness at times. Those fences, though, I gotta applaud it. The KKK. They mention it like once and then nothing, and then all of a sudden at the end they're like, you know what, we haven't seen some good old-fashioned KKK revenge. We should probably add that in there, which made it even more confusing. I didn't hate it. I love seeing Klansmen get killed, so that was fun. The editing was weird to me, and then just there's pieces of it missing, I found. So there's a scene where, you know, when the vampires are going to start wanting to come in, like, you know, huff and puff and blow yourself in. We got Muff Diving Guy in the closet, and he's like munching away there, and then 2 seconds later he's at the front door wanting to find out who's at the door. Like, if you're busy munching on puss, you're not going to be like running around seeing who's at the front door. Like, he was literally within 2 seconds he's at the front door. I'm like, okay, this is another scene of editing. I think there's obviously a scene that we missed. And then they built some kind of ancestry of past and present. And then it's underpin, which is kind of an underpinning of this film. That just didn't go anywhere. It was like we got sprinklings of a bunch of stuff that just seemed there was way too much going on. If they would have simplified this, took about 40 minutes out of it, it could have been an amazing film. It's barely getting a low meh for me. On a good note, though, the music was fantastic.
Yeah,
the music in this, and
the
one scene where they integrated past, present, and future. It was very cool. I just don't know if it worked in the film, but it was cool to see. So I can't hate it because I didn't really super hate this film. I had a lot of problems with the story and the editing and some of how things got from one place to another. But yeah, I think people should see this. It's visually a very good film. It was a low man.
Low man. Well, as you know, I'm all about the vampires, so
you do love
I'm
your
a little
vampires.
pickier about the vampire lore and how it is portrayed. There was some backstory here, which Jim didn't mention. It's like the two brothers, these twins who are gangsters, came from Chicago. It's presumed that they made off with Al Capone's money or somebody's, like they stole from the Italians and the Irish both, including their whiskey, and brought it back to this Alabama or wherever the hell they were, this KKK town, basically run by
some southern town
where they still had slaves. And yeah, they decided
I don't know if there was slaves. No, they were just treated poorly.
No, it wasn't the kid with the dad who was the minister. Wasn't he like picking cotton in the morning or something?
That's a job.
That's
he was
a
getting
job,
paid
man.
for it.
Oh, I thought he was something a slave.
No.
Anyway, that's beside the point. But yeah,
well, you brought it up as a point.
Well, no, but
so.
they showed up with like this wad full of money, and they want to like start a club.
Yeah.
And as far as I can tell, it's right in the middle of freaking Prohibition, so it wasn't exactly a good time.
Yeah, it was the 30s, yeah.
Yeah, so it was the 30s when everybody was struggling anyway, and they had all this money, and and the whole vampire thing, I don't know. At some point, they're like, well, if you kill the head vampire, won't the rest of them turn to normal? And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. That's exactly how it worked. As soon as, the one Michael B. Jordan that was left had the knockdown fight in the water with the main KKK guy, the rest of them just kind of, I don't know if they died or they disappeared or what happened, but they stopped fighting anyway.
I mean, she didn't say she was an expert. So.
No, but I mean they basically were trying to make us believe that that's not how it worked.
Yeah,
it's all they had to do was go after that guy.
Switcheroo.
All they had to do was kill that guy in the first place, but of course they didn't. So everybody else gets turned into a vampire. Yeah, there was some good blood and guts and gore and some good kills. And then, of course, at the end, there's the whole revenge thing, which seems a left field. After his entire party, they're all dead except him, and I think the kid. And then he goes and finds a freaking Gatling gun or whatever it was, like the mobster guns, machine guns.
Yep.
And just wipes out the rest of the KKK. I'm like, okay, this is after the vampires destroyed his entire family, but whatever. Yeah, no, it wasn't great. Again, it was a meh. I mean, wasn't horrible, but I've definitely seen better.
All right, what do you say, mister?
This was visually excellent. Like, really, really excellent.
Agree.
Music was amazing.
It was excellent.
I just loved a lot of the acting in it. I thought everybody that was in it was just spot on. Michael B. Jordan maybe could have been cast someone else, but
or
it's
at least
Ryan.
Cast another one.
It's Ryan Coogler, so
yeah, he's gonna.
They're playing twins though, so whatever.
Again, not an essential part of the
it wasn't
story.
Necessary. Yeah.
No, what's not? You know what? It's fine that if they're twins, they're twins, and if you want to cast them, I mean, it's not like frickin' casting Robert De Niro as two different people in a frickin' movie. That
you can't tell them apart.
It's like, come on. But the music was great.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just so much good in this, but it's just so long. I don't understand why this had to be 2 hours and 20 minutes. I mean, you're kind of making... I think you wanted to make something epic, But it just, in doing so, by making it 2 hours and 20 minutes, it was just a test in endurance. And by the end of it, I was exhausted and I was just like, I don't care anymore.
I was like, I don't care who wins the vampire. Well, you know, you're rooting for the people, so
you are, but it's just like I just didn't. I'm like, I just want this to end. I mean,
can we talk about the battle scene though? Like, my God,
I thought,
like,
you know what,
there's 200 vampires,
fine.
and they showed them attacking them, and like everybody wins.
Yeah, there was 200.
It was just
white
ridiculous.
people and like 10 black people inside the barn.
Wasn't even 10. I think there was like maybe 6 at that point.
Yeah,
and they took out
fine.
200 vampires.
Sure, vampires are not that tough to kill.
No, not
well, they were trying to make them
all
look
you gotta do is
superhuman.
stick a stake through their heart and they're done.
Yeah,
it's like, what's the
it
big
just-
deal? That's easy.
They showed so many times that, they're attacking, they're on top of
And
the
they tried
person.
shooting them.
And I'm like, all the people that they're on top of, who's actually doing anything?
Yeah.
It just was a horrible directed
No, it
fight.
was fine.
It was not. It was
You know
terrible.
what? It wasn't.
And
It wasn't terrible.
It
Kudos
was.
to Ryan Coogler for putting something on the screen that was original and visually stunning.
I'm going to
Wasn't a
agree with
superhero
that,
movie.
but if you're going to spend the
It's
time
too
to make a
long.
vampire fight,
Who
it
cares
right.
about the fights? My God,
Some of
that's
us
like
do.
you watch this movie, you're watching it for who cares? I'm about the characters and the dialogue, and I like the characters. I like the dialogue. I like the situations. I just thought it was too long. It was meh.
all right.
Fights.
Fight was stupid.
Who cares?
I like the fighting.
Yeah.
Not so much about the dialogue.
Yeah, I didn't think the dialogue first half of the film, the dialogue was weak, and they put too much in it. But you know.
Nah,
It was too long.
It was too long.
By at least a half an hour.
All right.
I would agree with that as well.
Well, let's go from vampire wrestling to Queen of the Ring.
Wrestling.
Right, that's what we saw. Queen
Yeah.
of the Ring. I was trying to think of the fifth movie, but apparently it's the second movie that we're doing.
Yes, it is. So, biopic of the first $1 million female athlete of all time,
There you go.
where she battles the male-dominated wrestling world as well as an abusive, cheating, and all-around asshole husband who also happens to be her business partner, but also helps to bring integration into female sports on top of achieving female-on-female wrestling legalization. Whew. So this has a lot of information and accomplishments that they had to achieve. Like most biopics, I have stopped trying to guess what is real and what actually didn't happen, and what is added as I want to call sprinkling of flavor. So it's just not worth trying to figure this out anymore. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch the movie. I'm not going to care about what the actual things that happened are, because there's no sense comparing anymore. I'd much rather watch docs anyway. This film portrays our lead as a very important person in women's rights, and in a lot of ways is a hero for all later lady wrestlers to come forward after her. Well, let me rephrase that. The story is a list of items that they portray in clips we are going to see. As this is just another one of those films that is basically a list of things it has to show to get to the end of the film. Have her want to be a wrestler, tick. Meet her future husband and business partner, tick. Kick ass, tick. Be an awesome wrestler, tick. And then this goes on for the entire movie with dialogue that is throwaway. The acting that I want to say for half of the cast was a heel. And I'm going to go wink, wink, being a wrestling term. And it just falls into the same trap that biopics do. It's not a good portrait of this very important person in history's life. I want the doc, not the biopic dressed up as a doc. Now, not all of this was horrible. Everything that happens inside the ring with these amazing lady athletes is a very cool and very well done. I've never seen... I want to see fight scenes in a movie is done as well as this movie, in my opinion. Yeah, it would have been great also that the ending showing all these real images and footage was also, and I thought was done great. These things were great. So, I mean, the movie I did not think was done well, The wrestling was stupendous, and it was way too long. It was like 2.5 years or something.
It was 2.5 years long.
Yeah.
Yes, Jim.
Yeah, which kind of wrecked the pacing for me. Like it being that long, it kind of fucked up the pacing. I kind of want to rage about this because I wasn't happy with the whole story of it, but I can't because the wrestling in this was so good. Like, I mean, so good. So I'm gonna give it a meh.
Yeah, 2 hours and 10 minutes to tell the story of Mildred Burke is unnecessary. To your point, if you know about her life, a lot of this was true. Some of it was a little bit embellished. So that's always... I don't understand why you can't make a biopic and just make it all...
About what happened
instead of embellishing stuff. But the movie plays out like a montage almost.
Montage!
But you can't have a 2 hour and 10 minute montage.
It's just ticking boxes.
It's just, let's show the boob. Like, it is literally just, it's a montage of her career. It
montage!
Really is. And it kind of annoyed me. I didn't really get to know anything. It wasn't informative. She was very good. Whatever her name was, Emily Brett.
And holy cow, was she jacked?
Emily Rickards. Yeah, she got into shape
jacked.
for sure. Walton Goggins was great in it. It was fun seeing Jimmy Cornette playing one of the promoters.
Jim Cornette.
Yeah, if you're a wrestling fan, you know Jimmy Cornette, and he's hilarious. He's not hilarious in this movie, which I wish they would have let him kind of ramble a little more. I don't even think the guy would needed a script. He knows enough about the history of wrestling that he could have just ad-libbed his way through this thing, and it would have been genius. But they didn't do that. They stuck to this kind of vanilla script that just was as you say, ticked all the boxes, and then it ended, and I was like,
I wish I had at least half an hour of my life
back. That was a really long movie that didn't really teach me anything. But to your point, I mean, it had some moments, but
wasn't the wrestling fantastic in this? Like, I don't know wrestling, so I don't. But it was
all well shot. I mean, and
yes.
it was a competently shot movie, but
for the wrestling.
I was kind of annoyed by the end. I hate to do it, but I'm gonna. Queen of the Ring is a rage for me.
Oh.
Even with the great wrestling.
Yes, it wasn't what I wanted it to be, and maybe that's part of the problem. And it's another movie where I know probably too much about Mildred Burke going in. Sometimes it's better to go into these things not knowing anything.
I know nothing.
You've never heard of Mildred Burke?
Never heard of her.
I just think what's interesting is that we had a great interview with Kate Kroll this week, and learned about Luna Vachon in her doc.
Yep.
And what I found interesting is that how did we go from her being like $1 million in the 1950s and 60s to where women are again kind of manhandled out of the situation? Like, there seems like a gap between Mildred and Luna, where it's like, what happened in wrestling for women?
Honestly, it's the same story. She was the exception, and just like in modern day wrestling, there was still women that there was one or two that made a lot of money, but everybody else is making nothing.
Yeah, that's still the way it is.
It was the same back then, and she just happened to be the one superstar that she could actually go from territory to territory.
She was the Hulkster.
And she was the Hulkster. She was the women's champion. So wherever she went, that was the women's championship match. So that she was the big draw.
And her actually beating men consistently must have been pretty interesting.
It wasn't really a thing.
It was kind of set up.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing.
Okay, well.
So, anyways,
there we go.
It's like, so I hate to
Andy
spoil
Kaufman
it for you
being
there.
a great wrestler, but all he did was wrestle women.
What's that?
Andy Kaufman.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
the thing.
I don't
All he
know
did-
where. I don't
he
know
only re- he
why
only-
are we going to Andy Kaufman?
Because
in
he's
this?
wrestling.
Because he only wrestled women.
Maybe he wrestled Mildred
and
Burke.
He
that
never
point-
wrestled men.
Maybe he wrestled Mildred Burke.
So it was all set up. Anyway.
Oh my God.
You know what?
Let's move
I'm
on.
sure she was great, but before my time.
If you believe they can put a man on the moon, that's what I want to
Yes.
say.
Yeah, well.
right.
All right, well, this is where things are going to go off the rails.
You think so?
Yeah, I definitely know so.
I've been
So a
pushing
nice
an elephant up the
Indian,
stairs.
nice Indian boy.
I've been
This,
throwing out punchlines that were never there.
yes, exactly. This is a rom-com.
In the corner, the piano falls.
Okay.
Crash into the
what the hell you're talking
ground.
about?
All right.
It's the other Andy
It's
Kaufman
the other
song by
Andy Kaufman
REM.
song.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a rom-com, just like every other rom-com.
Okay,
ever
sorry. What are we
created.
talking about?
A
I
nice
was-
Indian
Indian
boy.
Oh yes, a nice
Yeah.
Indian boy.
I mean, it has two people that fall in love, sprinkled in with some comedy. Something happens that causes them to question their love, and then they come back together. But unlike all the other horrible, unlikable, and for the most part, unwatchable rom-coms, this is a gay Indian rom-com. The comedy is very funny. The lovers are differentiated, not like traditional rom-coms, where one is an idiot and the other one is unlikable. In this one, the characters are rich and the dialogue seemed natural and real to me. Sure, it does follow the rom-com formula, and when we get to that point where in most rom-coms, we are too split because of a stupid reason, this one seemed correct. And then I thought, it is going to get ridiculous and weak, like most rom-coms. This changed the model and made the characters richer and more real. And then something happened that never happens in a rom-com, at least for me, which is that the love of this Indian family spilled out into everyone in the film, as well as everybody, or in least this case, me watching it. And this, of course, made me pretty much cry for the last 30 minutes of this film. I got so connected to this family and these great characters that I was completely dialed in. I loved this film. Yes, me, I loved a rom-com, and not afraid to admit it, Bryce. And just like all great Canadian sappy Bollywood films, this ends with a somewhat family fun Bollywood dance number. And like most Bollywood films, I get the pleasure of seeing it was also a Mondo.
I cannot believe you gave this a
I
Mondo.
loved
This is the most
this movie.
of all the rom-coms that have ever been made. You could put this as the template for the most formulaic rom-com
It was
that's ever
nothing.
been. I am sorry. I wanted to like this movie because I really like the lead actor. What is
Yeah,
it?
nice Indian
Karan
boy,
Soni.
whose name I can't remember.
His parents in it, Zarna Garg and Harish Patel, they're the only thing in this though that I enjoyed at all. I enjoyed the parents. Everything else I had no use for. And the fact that this was so formulaic, this story deserved better than to be a total formulaic rom-com.
See, I didn't see it
wasn't
that way.
funny. There were some.
I was laughing a lot.
There were some parts where I almost smiled, and that's as close as I got to a laugh. It just wasn't. It was nothing.
Ugh.
It was the fluffiest nothing rom-com that I've seen in years.
I don't even know how you're saying that.
I think I enjoyed that thing that Rage or Dare movie that I watched not that long ago with Deborah Messing and Dermot Mulrooney. I think it was as good as this.
No.
It had the same stupid situations, came from the same template. It's just a rehash.
It was
and
not the same
It was
template.
not original in any way. It was completely unlikable, and I wanted to like it. I really did. I tried, but it
didn't
is
try that
not.
hard.
I tried hard.
I don't think
was
this
thinking,
is formula at all.
Oh, it
and
is
the reason
100% formula.
The reason I don't think it's formula is because
Because
you never,
what?
Well, because it ties really into the whole Indian culture, and that historically, when you see movies where they're depicting Indian culture, that there is this level of judgment from parents in it. We've seen it many times in Indian films. So the fact that they were able to pull a queer film into the Indian culture, and it starts that way where they are, and the relationship between the son and the dad
then that's
is
the other thing.
fantastic by the end. You don't see that in rom-coms. Parents are not even involved usually.
What are
in
you
rom-coms.
talking about? It's exactly like every single rom-com where they've got these parents that don't approve, but then they come around, just like every rom-com.
No, rom-coms are usually just the couple and their friends.
That's
the
every
model.
rom-com that's got a family involved with it. It's exactly the same.
I don't think so.
It's like every other movie that has a family involved with it. Oh, they don't approve. Oh, they do approve. Like, this story deserves so much better. It's just like, I thought that they could have written these parents as way more complicated characters than they did. They were just absolutely superficial as well. I did not like this movie. I just did not like this movie. I wanted to.
And I loved it.
It was not good. It's a rage.
It's a total mondo.
Can't wait to hear what you think of the last movie we're doing. This is basically the same thing.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It seems like it.
I'll tell you one thing. It's not a rage.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. All right, Murray, what do you got to
right.
say about the Ballad of
Okay.
Wallace Island, or as I like to say, Stalker Island?
Stalker
Island.
Island.
Yeah, the Ballad of Wallace Island.
Of
It's
Stalker
like
Island.
Charles, this, nerdy recluse who lives on an island with like 3 other people. Apparently he won the lottery twice, which I know is possible.
It
And
is
he decides
possible.
to
Apparently it
invite
was.
this famous folk duo from whatever decade.
Did you notice that they were the same numbers too? He won it on the same numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, same numbers twice.
Yeah.
Which there is books written about that.
Guess
There's
so.
numbers
But yeah,
that.
so he invites this guy who's like he's like a famous folk artist guy. And then unbeknownst to him, they also invite his ex-partner who he used to have a thing with. So it's awkward. There's a love triangle. And yeah, Charles, this eccentric guy, lives in his house. There's no phone. There's like one little grocery store that has like nothing. She asked for a peanut butter cup and the lady comes back with a thing of peanut butter. It's not even like
And do you want this in a cup? She gave
in
him
a
a
cup.
coffee cup.
And she goes to put it in a coffee cup. That's their
Put
idea
the
of
peanut butter in a cup.
So yeah, it's that kind of a movie. And Charles, oh my God, the puns just non-stop.
I know.
No matter what anybody says,
Yes.
he's got a pun as a comeback.
Yes.
Wow. He was a lot.
He was a
It
lot.
was a lot. A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
The folk artist dude, he's like taking a bath or something, and like Charles is just sitting there on the toilet watching him. Oh my God, it was so ridiculous, but yeah, it was pretty sweet. And it had some good music if you're into like folk music.
Yeah, I think it's like all original music too.
It is all original music
even had a
written for the film.
Even a little bit of rom-com at the end, but not the one that I expected.
There you
So yeah, it was. It was nice and sweet. It was, like the kind of movie I actually do like most of the time. But when I saw the trailer, I thought, this doesn't look very funny.
Oh.
But yeah, it definitely had its moments.
There you go.
Just the fact that he went to get change for the payphone, he brought back $50 worth of quarters. Then he carried this sack around for the rest of the movie.
It's the little things in movies that make the difference.
I couldn't quite get it to a mondo, but it's definitely a high meh. Yeah, it was entertaining. And after some of the stuff that I saw over the weekend, it was a welcome relief.
Nice. All right, Brycey, you go next.
I go next.
Yes.
Well, it's sure not me.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, this movie was all about Tim Key as Charles Heath. He absolutely carried this film the whole way through. It's just an absolute delight just watching this guy just interact with everybody, and he's such a believable character. Even though it's like ridiculous, you're like, no, I'm pretty sure this guy could exist. And that's the charm of the whole thing. Honestly, the Carey Mulligan and Tom Baston as Herb McGuire and Nell Mortimer. it could have been played by anybody. Doesn't matter. This was Tim Key's movie, and he was so funny through the whole thing. Like, I don't think I've laughed this much in quite a while. Probably, well, that's not that long ago. I guess Freaky Tales, I probably laughed as much.
Yep.
But it is a very unconventional little story. Every character in it is absolutely lovable, other than maybe the two main characters.
Yeah.
But it is all the townspeople, and like everybody else was just added so much to this movie, and there's just so much color that was added to this movie through all these little side characters. And yeah, the lady that ran the little, if you want to call it a convenience store, I don't know what you'd call it.
It's her house.
She's the only place in town that'll sell you anything. But you can't get a bag of rice.
Nope, can't get rice. She has
got
rice
rice
pudding,
pudding.
though.
You got rice pudding.
But
yeah,
put your phone in that.
this was just very cleverly written, and it was just Tim Key just delivering these lines, just rapid fire succession. And even if like 50% of it landed, it would have been a high meh for me. But 100%, like every time they wanted me to laugh in this movie, I laughed. I can't deny that this was a Mondo. I enjoyed this so much. I was not expecting it. I went into this with no expectations, and I came out going, that was such a good time. I hope everybody should go and watch this movie. It is so much fun. I laughed a lot. Mondo.
There you go. Yeah, this film is so sweet and touching, and a cute love tale that, as Murray has already said, that you think is going to go one way, but as the Brits tend to do, they surprise us and take us into a completely different love story altogether. So, what is the story altogether? Well, we have a quirky and very, very punny man, Charles, played, as you've said, by Tim Key, who literally every time he opens his mouth,
It's a pun, yeah.
I could not stop laughing. Yeah. Every time he said something, it made me laugh. But he has this way about him that through this weird but cute way, he adds puns to everything and just has verbal diarrhea. It's kind of his whole essence at the core, but which at first you think this is going to get old really soon. But actually, as the film progresses, his character just becomes sweeter and kinder and just that much more lovable. Well, he is a 2-time lottery winner, as Murray said, and his wife had died 5 years ago. And their favorite band is the couple called McGuire and Mortimer, and they were a band but also a couple that broke up 9 years prior. It's a bit of a Three's Company scenario where he gets them both to come to play a private concert for him,
and she brings the husband
in remembrance of the anniversary of his wife's death.
Yeah.
The story kind of leads you to think it is going to be this typical rom-com.
Yeah, and they're going to reunite.
Getting these old musical flames together. But as Murray's already said, our other lead, Tom Bastian, who plays Herb McGuire, he wants it to go in that direction, but it doesn't. It goes through. He goes through a lot of soul searching because he's like unlikable at the beginning of the movie, and comes through to a better person. And the romance comes to our grieving millionaire with the shopkeeper. It's very, very
the only woman on the island, it seems.
Well, you don't really know because I mean she's kind of the core of where people get everything, right? So, I had so much fun at this movie too. I really loved this. At first when I was thinking about it, I'm like, what did I not like? I was trying to find something to like, but I couldn't because
there isn't anything.
I had so much joy, and even how it ends, like how this movie ends, is just. It's not what you expected, but
Well,
it's like better, almost more rewarding.
Yeah, no, it's an ending that I would like, but you guys don't like when things get wrapped up in neat little packages. And
Yeah, sometimes
there's
we
like
do.
But the thing is, this wasn't a neat little package.
No, but
the journey,
it was
a neat
definitely
little package would have been something that we expected was going to happen from the beginning, and it did not.
Yeah, this was a complete surprise.
But yes, they
Damn,
did.
Night
It is a
Shyamalan
very,
does.
it is a very sweet ending that typically we would not like. But there's nothing. There's nothing you can't like about this movie. To Jim's point, you look back on it, it's like, okay, where can I take points off for this movie to make it not a Mondo?
I had all my dollar bills on the table when this ended.
It's just a sweet, funny movie, and I can't deny
the characters, all the characters, like even her and her husband. I still thought they were awesome too. Like
there's some growth. Yeah, and they both grew. Well, he grew, and she was just kind of the same throughout the whole thing. But she was.
She was willing to, be able to work with him on a professional basis.
Yeah.
So she let bygones be bygones.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with her character. There's a whole lot wrong with his.
His whole thing is that he's regretting what he did when he did it.
When he did it, yeah.
And the fact, here's the thing about films. We've talked about this before. Soundtracks are so important to a film.
Yep.
And the music in this was so good.
Yeah, it was.
So good. The harmonies when they were singing together, I was like, man, I'd buy their album.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they're going to write original music for this film is worth the price of admission in itself. And, download the album because it's awesome.
There you go.
It's so catchy. Yeah, this was a Mondo for me too. I love this film. I'm all about love this week.
Yes, you are.
Noticed.
You
super
sure
love.
are. Sure.
Which leads us to the final film.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Wedding Banquet.
That's what its name is.
It's refreshing to see a film that is set up to show queer culture in such a natural setting. This felt also
yes,
to me
this
real.
one felt natural.
Yeah, so did the other one.
No.
Yeah.
The other one felt like just a formulaic rom-com.
Not even close.
Anyways.
Usually big Hollywood films with a queer focus create one-dimensional characters. This is not that. Plus, I finally get to see how good of an actor Lily Gladstone is, instead of where she is one note and either that or she's lying in a bed for half of a movie. This is a complex and unfortunate story that I fear happens way too often in queer culture, and I feel they got this all so right in a way that seems so real, but also at times very funny, but not as funny as the trailer made you think. I thought this was going to be an all-out comedy,
and it isn't.
And it isn't at all. It's very much heavy drama, especially trying to do the funniest scene in this is when they try to de-queer the house when everything, and I'm putting this in heavy quotes, everything in this house is gay. Yeah. It's such a funny scene. But when Grandma shows up from Korea and she is on board with the whole, and I'm putting this in heavy quotes, plan, I started bawling my eyes out with joy at that moment in the film. So the other one I maybe cried the last 30 minutes. This one I cried for the last half of the movie, like nonstop crying. What is the plan, you say? Well, it's a wedding banquet. He's rich and Korean and is supposed to take over the family business. So to get his green card and avoid being forced into the family business, he is going to marry one of the ladies. Because his boyfriend didn't want to marry him because of his hangups. And then in return, pay for his lesbian bride to get artificially inseminated with her lesbian partner.
It's that convoluted.
It's that convoluted.
Sounds like
Grandma's no dummy.
But so is life sometimes.
Sometimes life is. Grandma's no dummy. And so glad to see the acceptance that she provides. And getting to see her get to see the real person that her grandson was a beautiful portrait, which I'm sure doesn't happen as often as we got to see in this movie. And, I don't know how many stories I've heard from some of my queer friends that have, especially ones from the States, where they've been disowned by their family. So this is refreshing to see that. The characters are flawed but full, and the story, although not necessarily new, was vulnerable, and at times it was fun. I totally love these characters, and the realism and the love of all these people. It warmed my heart. And for what I thought was going to be a comedy, ended up being just a refreshing, important family dynamic film, and also had me laughing now and then. It was just like Past Lives, but with lesbian couple and a gay couple.
There you go.
Okay, so it's
Well, if it's just like
not,
Past Lives, then it must be Mondo.
It is. It's and just like Past Lives, it's Mondo. And I have a bit of unpacking, but what did you think about this?
I think that you got this one right, Jim, unlike the last one. This one was...
Wait, okay, the last one was Ballad of Wallace Island, which I said was Mondo. I got that right.
The previous wedding.
And then A Nice Indian Boy, which was also Mondo.
The other wedding movie.
I'm sorry, you weren't with me, so you weren't seeing me bawl my eyes out for the last 30 minutes, so it was a Mondo. That's
Yes.
if I can bawl my eyes out for more than 10 minutes.
There was nothing about... Anyways, The Wedding Banquet, yes. This was such a believable movie. It's one of those weird movies where this plot is so convoluted with so many moving parts, but you literally go, yeah, that could happen. And to your point, once Grandma comes in, that's where I'm all in at that point. I mean, I was enjoying myself anyways, and I just, this was a very, very good movie. There's nothing I can pick apart in it. The performances were great. I mean, I'm just going to echo your sentiment. Like, everything you said, I agree with. And we can't say that too often, especially this week.
We usually can say lately, but this week, sometimes not.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. I enjoyed this so much. This was Mondo.
Nice. You know what to do, Murray. So we got to unpack a few things.
And to your point, Lily Gladstone, this was such a good performance from her.
I know,
just everybody in this. So this just was really, really good.
Yeah, the cast in this is.
I don't know where they found Han Ji Chan as Min, but oh my God, he was good in this.
Oh my God, he was really good.
Yeah.
In this. So good. But can we talk about the barf walk? And then when she finds out she's pregnant, I was like, oh my God, I'm literally like bawling my eyes out. And the grandma was just so incredible.
Yeah, the grandma was incredible. This was really good. Really good. As you say, that the trailer makes it look like an all-out, almost a screwball comedy, which it is not. It's the heaviest of dramas with
some sprinklings
which you need in a heavy drama. When you're dealing with like super heavy issues, you got to inject a little humor in every now and then just to...
It wasn't quite the same as Flea and 20,000 Species of Bees for me, but the fact that I cried for the entire last half of this movie, I was just nonstop. It would be like something would happen and I'd just start bawling. I was able to get out of the cinema without collapsing on the floor bawling though. So I got out of the cinema and I was able to stop crying. So
I never cried, but I did swallow hard a couple of times.
Yeah, you do like to swallow hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's that?
It's the Cuff Underground Film Festival.
Calgary Underground Film Festival.
Go to calgaryundergroundfilm.org and you will find we're just in the middle of it.
We are
we got lots more to go.
Over halfway, but yeah.
Yeah, probably just over halfway, right?
I'll start on a Thursday, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're just going to talk about...
Didn't start for me on Thursday.
Yeah, started for us because...
Someone can get
that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other story.
Whatever. I'll see it eventually.
Yeah, you will. So the first thing I want to say about this festival... Now, last year, we both agreed, Bryce and I, that last year's festival was the best Cuff festival that we'd seen with the number of Mondos that we put out.
Yeah.
By far.
Yep.
This festival, I think, is the most Cuff film festival that they've ever put out.
Yes.
And when I say that, there's so many independent, there's so many underground films in this that I'm blown away. Now, it's not to say that we love these, but if you're going to put a movie in it that has somebody's vagina that tastes like candy, even though it may not be the best produced film. Like, this is taking you places that this festival, I don't feel has had as much as what we got in this film. Every film is pushing boundaries. Every film is taking you places where you never thought you were going to go. So I can't say enough good things about this year's festival. I have not hated one film in this yet.
And, go back 5 years and that wasn't necessarily the case. So
yeah. So
it was rom-com central 5 years ago.
Kind of felt a little bit like
that. It did. But now it's back, baby.
It's back to being the Cuff that we fell in love with 22 years ago or 21 years ago or whatever it is.
Something like that.
It's a lot of years ago. Anyway.
So many years.
If you're in Calgary or if you're even in Alberta and you're listening to this, you've got to get and see some of these films. Yeah. So we're just going to talk about our Mondos that we gave out. I think I've given I'm going to be giving out the most Mondos. So what I think might be best is I'll tell you about the film, and then if it's also a Mondo that you have or you want to add to it, and then if there's things that I didn't list, then you guys can add it on to it after the fact.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what your Mondos are, and
yeah, I think I told you.
I think I agree with like
a lot
most of them.
All right, so this one we know Murray does not agree with us on, but my first, and I didn't put them in any order because I can't. They're all films you can't compare. Ebony and Ivory. Two best friend musical geniuses come together over a weekend to make the perfect song.
So good, Murray.
Inside a Scottish cottage.
Scottish cottage!
That could change how people think. Ebony and Ivory, where they smoke doobie
1% true,
woobies and
maybe, but it
eat
wasn't.
ready-made bread, vegetarian meals.
Yes.
In some of the wackiest and funny dialogue since The Greasy Strangler, but when he brought
what?
This is the first time in a movie that I literally lost all control of every orifice in my body. I was crying and laughing. There was snot coming out of my nose. I was drooling. I think I sharted. I was going to say fart, but there was actually some shart there. Mm-hmm. I could not stop laughing for 15 solid minutes when he took that fucking nugget slide out. I just completely lost my shit. Could not stop laughing. And I picture that in the future, I would say that I can't say it'd be me and Murray when we're old, but this would be probably Bryce and I when we're old. Murray would have to be coming along after the fact. This is exactly what I picture Bryce and I like in the future. I love this film so much.
Yeah, Ebony and Ivory is an instant freaking classic. It is so funny. As I say, if you've seen The Greasy Strangler and you super enjoyed it like us, then you need to see this. If you saw The Greasy Strangler and you didn't like it,
like Murray,
like me,
then this particular director's humor might not be for you. Although this is a very different movie, so it's not like a gross. There's a lot of gross stuff in Greasy Strangler. Not so much in this movie.
No, that's enough.
It wasn't so much gross.
There wasn't anything gross. What was gross in it?
Yeah, there's nothing gross.
A lot.
Oh, just the wieners?
Wieners? Is that you don't like wieners?
I love wieners.
Who doesn't?
Not for 20 minutes.
Hey, they're just dancing on the shore
the
there.
dance number. Oh my God,
that was so good.
Fucking dance number.
Anyways, Ebony and Ivory, absolutely agree. It's total Mondo.
All right, this one I don't think you loved it as much as I did, but for me, Art Spiegelman, Disaster is My Muse, was a Mondo for me. This is another Talking Heads doc, but to be honest, I'm okay if the person that's talking is a genius and their art is saying all the things that I think the world needs to know about. This man changes comic and art and literature by writing one of the most powerful and original graphic novels that has ever existed. He started the actual graphic novel, and it got me. And the test is when I see a documentary about somebody, and if I love it that much, I'm going to buy his book. Well, while I was sitting in the stands, I rebought his book and the follow-up book to it as well. So they're both coming. And the fact that he did Garbage Pail stickers was like, I collected those as a kid.
The Garbage Pail kids.
Yeah. So I'm like, kudos to you, Art Spiegelman. You're just still kicking ass and and fighting for the little guy till you probably drop dead. This guy's a genius. I loved him, and I love this movie.
Movie was really good.
Yeah.
People should see it.
Yeah.
Wasn't
totally.
Mondo for me, though.
It was totally Mondo.
It was
for
pretty
me.
long.
It wasn't long enough for me. All right, I think this one we're all going to agree on, and that's Pastor Noster and the Mission of Light.
So good.
And I want to say bonkers cult blood orgy, which had a killer soundtrack, literally killer soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason to make an underground film, fucked up, poorly acted, and a bad sound mix, but this was so enjoyable. The blood orgy alone is worth the price of admission. This was so fucking Mondo. I love this.
So many good kills.
Yeah.
No,
I did not imagine that Murray would love this film.
I cannot believe you missed that one. Like, Jim and I both previewed, and yeah, this is the only one that I gave like a 5 out of 5. Only one.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it in the theater because I already saw it.
Yeah.
But
The music in this.
the music and just the insanity. It was like,
oh, it was crazy.
It's like, Charles Manson's cult like up, to like an 11. Except funny.
This is the type of movie that you go to Calgary Underground Film Festival to see.
Yeah, no, I love that one. Everyone should see it.
Yeah.
No, it was super Mondo.
And the next one, I think we might agree on this one. I'm pretty sure we do. It's called You Are the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of added to when you see the film and you know ahead of time, because we found out just before watching this that this was filmed before the Ukraine war started and finished it while the Ukraine war is on. So that kind of added to the film a little bit for me. In this film, we have the final man in space because the world blows up, and he's by Jupiter. And then he finds out that there is another living person near Saturn. It's a space movie about the end of humanity and also happens to be an amazing love story that was so fantastic and also funny because it had a cheeky little robot. I love this film. The pacing was so good. The visuals were amazing for a low budget science fiction movie. It's probably I'm going to say it's one of my favorite science fiction movies I've ever seen. I freaking love this movie.
Yeah, I loved it too, and it's a Ukrainian movie that actually got finished while the war was going on. So it started before the war.
That's
but
what I said.
Yeah. Really? I wasn't listening.
Remember, he's deaf.
Yeah, that's right. He's deaf. He's also tired. We've been watching nonstop movies. I think we've watched like 23 movies now. I think.
I don't know. It's a lot
crazy.
Of movies. I don't know what's going on anymore.
It's the crazy. Is that all you wanted to say about it?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was Mondo.
All right, perfect. And then my last Mondo.
I just want to go to bed.
Yeah. My last Mondo is called Mr. K with my favorite creep crush of all time, Crispin Glover. The sound and the set design is reason to see this movie alone.
I would agree.
There is not a better set and sound. If this doesn't win, okay, here's my prediction. Nobody at the Oscars is going to even fucking see this movie. This has the best sound and set design that's ever been created in a movie in the history of the universe. And this is probably not even going to get seen by anybody on the stupid Academy.
Yeah.
I cannot talk about how great this sound design was. It was so incredible. But on top of that, it's pretty fucked up. And when you come out of the movie, everyone's going to have a different opinion about what this film was about, which to me is the sign of a true Mondo film. Because I have my own thoughts about it. Murray probably has his own thoughts about it. Bryce everybody that we were talking to as we left the cinemas is going to have a different thought about what Mr. K is about. And to me, that in itself proves it, on top of the fact that it's the best set design and sound design ever.
I enjoyed it a lot, but it wasn't Mondo.
It was totally Mondo.
It was but to your point, the set design is amazing. The sound was really good. But yeah, no, that set, that was crazy good.
There's a phrase that Bryce is fond of saying, which totally applies to this movie.
Oh.
I don't know what's happening. See, that was me for 95 minutes of this movie.
You were laughing a lot.
That's what makes
There
it
were
good.
some funny moments because Crispin Glover is awesome, but I had no freaking clue what was going on most of this movie.
Yes.
Which is why I didn't give it a higher rating. Because if I actually understood the plot, I actually had to read about it. Like when I went to the bathroom, I actually pulled up the thing. I'm like, oh, is that what it's supposed to be about? Because otherwise, I had no idea what was going on. Just he kept going from room to room and all new situations. There was like a bunch of gypsies that never showed up again, and then he was all of a sudden in the kitchen where all they do is eggs apparently, and I'm like, what? Yeah, it just got weirder and weirder. But that's Crispin Glover, so yeah, it definitely wasn't a Mondo, but.
It was for me.
It
Now,
was-
did you guys have any other Mondos that?
I did not.
Did you have another one?
I've seen 7 movies, and I extremely disliked 5 of them.
Oh,
So yeah, the one tonight is a middle of the road. The other one you guys do not agree on, which is basically the only one I was looking forward to pretty much the whole festival,
oh, nice.
which was Cheech and Chong's last movie.
It was good.
Yeah,
I love those guys. I grew up with them. They were my
You grew
first-
up with them?
Well, I grew up watching them.
Well,
Well,
he's
that's
Canadian.
different.
They both lived in
I mean,
Canada.
that was my first, experience with adult humor. And I was an impressionable teenager because we had, Cinemax, that and the the R-rated comedies like Porky's and that kind of stuff.
So
But
you're
yeah,
saying that Cheech and Chong movie was a Mondo for you?
yeah, absolutely loved it.
Nice.
That one guy I don't know the guy's name, but you know him. He's an older guy with a big long beard and glasses. He kind of became one
Mike?
of my. Is his name Mike? Yeah, I started hanging out with him a lot more for some reason. But yeah, and he after the movie, he was like telling me, yeah, I knew everything that was in the movie. I'm like, I didn't know every single fact. I mean, I knew stuff about the movies, but yeah, I learned a lot about the movies, and
I thought maybe I was going to be in the documentary, but I wasn't. 'cause
and the
I
fact
thought maybe they would have covered the Highwood Music Festival in Alberta here, and I was there.
Yeah.
I was hey, Tommy
just-
Chong.
just the fact of how they met,
Him and his band played.
and how
It
they
was great.
crossed paths, and I'm like, yeah,
And he was the master of ceremonies.
Yeah, it's like Cheech came up to Canada and was in Calgary, and that was weird after like Chong left. It's just weird shit.
But they didn't cover the Highwood Music Festival. That's why it wasn't Mondo.
Okay, whatever. But
There's
I
other
learned a
reasons
lot,
it's too
and
long.
yeah, they had a lot of them driving in the desert trying to find whatever this
Yeah.
place was. But it's like, yeah, you saw how they worked out some of the shit that tore them apart in the first place, and at the end, I loved it. It was a Mondo, but yeah, you guys don't agree. But
we both liked it,
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
but no, it
I
wasn't.
I grew up with the album.
Mm-hmm.
The one.
yeah,
the-
well, you're a little older
the
than
car,
me, but
the car that folds out. That's
yeah, no, I don't.
that album was.
I don't
on
remember a
our-
lot of their comedy bits other than
Yeah.
than the Dave one, but yeah, I saw.
basketball Joe.
I saw.
And for that movie, you can probably see it at a cinema near you.
Yeah, it's gonna
it
come
came
out.
in
It'll be coming out, yeah.
It's out in Calgary now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I thought I would like the Paul Rudd one a bit more. I mean, it was okay, but yeah, I didn't like some of the where it went. But
Nice. So
Yeah,
Cheech
the
and Chong's last movie, right? That
yeah,
was it's called?
last movie, yes, Doc. And I looked actually because I went home, tried to find some of their movies on Tubi. Only one on there is Korskin Brothers, which is like it's the worst one. But they also had a documentary that they did a few years ago. Not the same,
Nice.
not as the same as this, but yeah. So I guess you can check that out too. But yeah, it's the only one that I really loved so far. And
Nice.
yeah, I won't be seeing anything now until probably the weekend. So
Well, hold on to your hats, kids, because we're gonna have a part 2 next week. That's it, I guess, right?
I guess
Well-
that's all we have.
Thanks, Ragers, for listening. Thanks to Extended Film Rage family. You can find in our show notes. Thanks to Casey from The Nerdy Photographer for the voice of Rager Dare. Find us on social media everywhere at Film Rage YYC. Check out everything Film Rage at filmrageyyc.com, including our merch site for Redbubble and TeePublic. We're always wanting to make this a raging blast for all listeners, so please comment, like, and subscribe, and send us emails to filmragecalgary@gmail.com. Dares to see terrible movies to fuel our rage, but no matter what you do, please, 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 make us our rage. That's it for this week.
Rage on.